It's time for another episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, going into episode 56. After episode 55, I was riding so high. Probably 60% of me riding that high was the beefy boys meeting and greeting and saying hello and having their pose down and that sort of thing. And probably the other 40% was Azumi Curtis and her saving the day to a degree. So I'm just really riding high. I feel like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is in a really good place right now with the story and with the action, with everything that's going on. And I just can't wait to dive even deeper. So let's dive a little deeper. Also, during the OP, I do like to remind folks that I have a Patreon now, and I know a lot of you are already aware of that. Some of you are already members of the Patreon, but if you're just kind of curious, you want to see what it's all about, what's going on over there, well, there is a link in the video description. All right, we're somewhere in the desert. Are we in Ishval? Are we on our way to Jing? I feel like we could be on our way to Jing here. I want to see what's going on out in this desert. This is really like totally changed gears and directions from where we left off before. And who is this person with the strands of blonde hair? Is this Father or is this von Hohenheim? But it's somebody, are they crossing to Jing or are they coming from Jing, getting to Amestris? Like, I feel like maybe von Hohenheim left before Father did. Oh boy, this person's really suffering from some dehydration here. Looks like they're not going to make it through the desert. It's a pretty tough hike, tough haul. And wasn't there like the lost land of Xerxes? Isn't that where von Hohenheim's from? Looks like some camels. That's definitely natives of Jing, so maybe he's going from Xerxes to Jing. But very fortunate for him that those three travelers wandered onto him. So yeah, it's like he's going from the west to the east. Oh, they're counting him out as dead. But the two people I know that look like that, Father and von Hohenheim, death isn't something that's going to come easily to either of them. I like that lizard licking like the dewdrop off its nose. So I'm thinking von Hohenheim. I'm not thinking Father here. But yeah, he's lucky those travelers from Jing wandered upon him, because it was not looking good for him, was it? Oh, he's just wandering aimlessly. Coming from nowhere, going to nowhere. Yeah, Xerxes. This is pre-Amestris. So we did see his background in Xerxes. Yeah, this is von Hohenheim saying he couldn't stop Father, I think. So, sometime in the past, The Return of the Fuhrer is the name of this episode. Of course, we saw King Bradley show up at the end of the last episode, so we know he's back. Somebody also pointed out a nice little Easter egg where in the foreground you just see some feet go by with the sword. That was probably the Fuhrer, because he's got that, trademark weapon of his attack, the sword. Oh, and here we have a young von Hohenheim, number 23. Was that his name? Watching some construction going on here in what I assume is Xerxes. So, let's see what we're supposed to glean or take away from these memories. Okay, talking about Tammy or Tommy. Yeah. Huh. So, these memories of all these folks from their past that they both knew. All slaves, I guess? Yeah, I still want to know what exactly happened to Father's hand there. What kind of defense was put up against him when he went for the spinal cord? Yeah, this one of his fellow slaves that really wanted a shot at Father here. Oh, so he contained their souls and they invaded him like a contagion. The souls of his enemies from hundreds of years past. When he went for that spinal cord trying to go towards the Philosopher's Stone, I would assume. And it was all a trap. Good for you, Hohenheim. So people essentially sacrificed their souls for the chance to take down Father here. Or the pickled punk in a jar, as I like to call him. Mere energy forms compared to the Philosopher's Stones. Oh, kind of like throwing it back in his face. What allows me to battle you is this undying body you gave me after you cloned me and took my likeness for yourself. Oh, wow. 536,329 people are inside of Hohenheim. Is that the amount of people it took to build the Philosopher's Stone that gave him his immortality? That's pretty amazing. That sounds like even more than what Envy had. Making Hohenheim like above a homunculus. It's like a humanonculus. Wow. Whoa! Now that was cool, like a Philosopher's Stone spike drilled through his forehead. Makes him look like a human unicorn. Clearly agony, blood running down his face. Taking him all the way back to when he was the dwarf in the flask, the pickled punk. Oh, so they're not going to destroy the essence of who Father is. They're just destroying his container, his flask, or that body that's a clone of Hohenheim. Oh, I love it! We're cracking your flask, and your flask is made of flesh. It's your flesh flask. Yeah, he's getting back the vengeance from those he mistreated along the way. But of course, Father is not without his own power, not without his own devices. Is he going to turn it on its ear and suddenly use this against Hohenheim? Oh, he's like deflated, and now he's the Shadow Beast. I wasn't expecting a shadow. Oh, no eyes, just teeth. It's like a mid-draw. Mid-draw, if you're a Wheel of Time fan there. And that deflated body's just like flat, like a banner or flag. Telling him, I don't need this flask, Hohenheim. You're up for it now. Oh, boy. He looks very much like Pride, doesn't he? And there's that eye that's, been the symbol of the void and all that sort of thing. Oh boy, Hohenheim went into a battle. He thought he had it all mapped out, but he wasn't ready for everything. And now, whoa, the Fuhrer, he got like a grenade behind his back there. Is that what that is? And the Fuhrer, he doesn't need tanks. He doesn't need a legion. He just shows up by himself with a grenade and a sword, and he's ready to come on in and do what a whole army couldn't do. And I kind of believe he can probably do it. Because, whoa! He sliced a bullet in half! Oh, he's going to take out a tank single-handedly? Oh, the tank backed through the door and made an opening for him. What the heck? Whoa, look at all that! It's nothing but Fuhrer-fueled carnage going on here in the command center in the Central District. Oh, wow. What one guy with a sword can do. Never underestimate a guy who does bring a sword to a machine gun fight. Oh, he's taking out a tank with a sword and chutzpah. Those are the only two ingredients needed to win this fight. Like, I am not a fan of the Fuhrer, but I gotta confess, when a guy kicks butt, he can kick some butt. Look at that. Taking out the tank with a well-placed sword strike through the eye hole. Oh my goodness, through the peephole of the tank. Cutting the belts. That sword, what's it made out of? It's cutting through armored vehicles like nothing. Oh, decapitation! And there goes the grenade he was carrying for just that moment. Now we're going to see the Fuhrer and Buccaneer. Is that what we're going to get next? So the Briggs troops were ready for a lot, but they weren't ready for the Fuhrer. I wonder how he got from the bottom of that river after the train exploded on the bridge to here. Are we going to see him like rising up out of the river and walking, hitchhiking, stealing somebody's horse and riding it? They got all the guns trained on him. Bullets are probably fairly useless. See what Buccaneer does here. Yeah, kind of shocked the guy took out a tank. You know when Italy invaded Ethiopia, they had these tiny little tanks that Ethiopians were actually capturing armed only with like machetes, I think. Or maybe just swords. Anyway, knives. I'm sorry if I'm getting some of the details wrong, but it's pretty interesting history if you go back and read about the Italian tanks getting captured by Ethiopians. Oh, look at that. He just took out the Automail like it was nothing. And it looks like he took out Buccaneer in the process. Oh my goodness. He's like, I'm back to be the boss. And he's an intimidating boss who's going to stand up to him. We need Mustang. Like, this is the fight Mustang's waiting for, right? Like, Mustang wants to unseat or usurp, depending on how you look at it. Mustang needs to show up, because that's the fight we're waiting for, isn't it? Are we waiting for Fuhrer versus Mustang? Of course we are. And we're waiting for Father versus Hohenheim. We're waiting for Edward and Alphonse together to maybe take out Father. Oh, you're not going to beat me when it comes to manly pride. He's stubborn. He's no Armstrong, but he's close to being a beefy boy. Oh yeah, the difference between bravery, stubbornness, foolhardiness, razor thin line. And who's this talking to him from above? Ah, it's what did I decide to call him? Greeling? Greed plus ling? Greeling? Yeah. Ah, there's Greed. I do want to see this fight between Greed and the Fuhrer, but it's not the main event. It's undercard. We want to see King Bradley and Mustang, right? They're the two egos at the heart of this. And we still got General Grumman or Colonel Grumman, whatever he is out there somewhere. And now we've got some conventional warfare going on out front. Riflemen versus riflemen. And I say advantage Briggs because they're the tougher customers. They've been through it. They've been living on the border. Oh, the radio station has an announcement. So how's Mrs. Bradley going to handle the idea of the Fuhrer being back? She's happy. She doesn't know who he is. She doesn't grasp the concept of his evil. Brings tears to her eyes, but these folks over here, Mustang's crew, they're not so happy about the Fuhrer returning. Very emotional for Mrs. Bradley. And you know what? I harbor zero ill will against Mrs. Bradley. Just because her husband and son are real turd waffles doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her. But the whole tide of the battle turns on a pin as soon as Fuhrer, King Bradley, shows back up. It's unfortunate, but we've still got a few parts in motion. Scar's out there. What's going to happen? Scar can make a move. Mustang needs to make his move. Grumman, suddenly now I'm thinking Grumman is not a spoiler, but he might actually be the reinforcements they need at this point, riding in to be the hero. Oh, they're blaming General Armstrong. They're blaming Briggs now. They're trying to deflect the blame from Mustang. Interesting, although, you know, kind of a low-class thing to do there. So now they need to go try to play their part into defeating Bradley. Because suddenly they've went from in control to the underdogs, which is how this story flows, right? I mean, who would expect anything less? Oh, wow. They're contemplating their own fates here, because they're probably low enough on the ladder that they could blend in as if they weren't rebels and just abandon the revolution, so to speak, if they're worried about covering their own hide. But they seem to be loyal. They seem to believe in the cause of Mustang's attempt to have a revolution here. True revolutionaries are not going to give up. Let's see what Greeling's up to. So, are we going to get a battle, or are we just going to get them trading some clever remarks to one another? Greed owning up to his avarice. And, you know, Greed, the homunculus, has a bone to pick with Wrath, the way that Wrath mistreated Greed when Greed was in its former vessel, when they were back in Rush Valley or somewhere. That's their whole backup, is one homunculus. But a capable one. You know, and I think that the Ling version of Greed is probably more potent than the previous one. Oh, here we're going to get to see how he survived the train sabotage, I guess is all you call it. He could see the saboteur. Whoa, he did a little Legolas running on falling debris, which is something physics tells us can't be done, but it looks great on film. And there he was dangling from a tree branch, and somehow he managed to escape it. But he is saying his body isn't as able to rebound from such damage as it once was. Oh, so these are like memories of the old Ling, the pre-Greedling, I think, remembered him. Alright. So let's see what he does. What's the move? Sword versus those reinforced iron hide hands. Oh! Oh! We're only getting to see reactions to the battle. We didn't actually get to see the salvo. Here we go. Now we're getting to see some of the battle. Oh! Pretty nice exchange. They're both lightning quick, so it's a whole lot of not making contact. Ducking. Bobbing and weaving. Oh, so is it Ling who's telling Greed how to fight? Yeah, I think it's Ling who's telling Greed how to fight. The combination of those two is pretty... Oh, no! Off comes the eye patch. Out comes the Ouroboros tattoo on his eyeball. So let's see. I don't know. Can Greedling really hang with him? I mean, he's got the advantage of being a sympathetic character, somewhat heroic, so that means narratively it gives him a little boost. But I think from what we've seen on the battlefield, advantage is purely King Bradley here, right? And he's saying, you guys are going to get yourself killed firing your rifles into a... Don't bring rifles to a sword fight when Bradley's involved. Oh, man. Those sword slices, super quick, blood everywhere. Took out the rifleman, just like I was worried. You know, they would have been fine if they didn't get involved, but once they get involved, they're fair target. Oh, no! Oh, Buccaneer got it right through the abdomen. Blood everywhere. Blood coming out of his mouth, but he's got that strong left hand ready to swipe down, doesn't he? Oh, but he brought it down to the ground. Is it because Bradley got out of the way? I've got some really unpleasant buffering going on right now. Thank you, Funimation, for nothing. Oh, tell him he's got tough abs because he can handle being run through the abdomen with a sword. But he got a sword! Oh! That's one way to get him to sacrifice. That's what the swipe was doing. He took his weapon away from him. So what's he got now? Oh, he's got knives. Knives, shorter reach, but there's two of them. And he can fling them, giving him a ranged attack. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I think that helps even it up a little bit, too. Taking away the weapon with which he's most proficient. Even in the battlefield, just a little bit between Bradley and Greeling. But of course, we're going away from the fight just when I'm really on the edge of my seat here, ready to tip over. And we're going to see some of these soldiers from Central looking at the casualties from Briggs. Looks like they're reclaiming control of the city. And we know we got a few episodes left, so there's still got to be some ebb and flow in this revolution. Oh, they're watching the battle. I like it. We're just getting glimpses, and they're letting our imagination fill in the blanks because they know what I will imagine going on in this greatest fight of all time is probably better than what they could animate and direct and put out there. Of course, this is just an appetizer, a little teaser for the big Mustang Bradley fight that I feel is inevitable at this point. I am inevitable. Okay. So as this individual battle goes on, control of the city is rapidly shifting back to that of the old power structure rather than the revolutionary folk. He's telling him do something. I don't know what. Anything. There's no bad thing. There's no wrong way to help me at this point in time. Oh, okay. So getting Buccaneer to a safe place, getting that sword further away from the battlefield, I guess, helps. Oh, is he going to take the machine gun? What's he going to do with that machine gun up there? Oh! Oh! Yeah, he's got a bottleneck and a machine gun. That's one of the best holding strategies, like the 300 Spartans. You got a bottleneck and a machine gun. Two men can hold off 500 for a while. Not forever. The bullets don't last forever. But it's a great holding tactic, delaying tactic, whatever you want to call it. At least from a video game comic book point of view. Like I said, I've never, been in any real situation like these, so I don't want to belittle those folks watching who do have military experience. But from fictional military experience, that's what I know. Oh, oh boy. They're going back. Those mannequin soldiers are still just the biggest monkey wrench in the plan of all time. The mannequin soldiers absolutely keeping them from having much control on the inside. They created their own virus, their own flaw in the system. It became their own worst enemies with these immortal legions. Oh, who got him from behind with the old butt of his blade? Knocked unconscious. Bunch of soldiers taken off the board. Let's see what Mustache Man here is going to figure out. Oh, somebody moving quickly. Who's moving that quickly? Is that... Who is that? Who moves that quickly? Oh, it's the old Ninja Bodyguard! The old guy. I forgot what they call him, old something. And I kind of said, come on, why do you have to call the guy old? But now I'm doing it. We're getting Tom Selleck, man. That is probably one of the most glorious mustaches that King Bradley has. Man, the guy moved like the wind, struck like the lightning, clapped like thunder, and all that kind of stuff. Haha. I love the old Ninja Bodyguard. Where's the young woman bodyguard with the automail arm that has like the elbow stabber? Oh boy, checking out that Ouroboros tattoo on the eyeball. I didn't realize that the old bodyguard had never met King Bradley before. And he's ready. Oh, he's mad at him for I didn't realize that the young woman bodyguard ninja was his granddaughter. But he's got a score to settle. You know, in classic... Oh, and it's over! It's over! I was just ready to see what the old guy could do with King Bradley. We know King Bradley's got to survive this battle because these can't be the guys to take him down, can they? Like, it's got to be Mustang, right? But, you know, in classic symmetrical narrative where karma comes around and there's always payback, you'd expect the old guy to take Bradley's arm off, but of course, because he's homunculus, it'll grow back, but that still would be like that narrative symmetry is maybe the first attack. He takes off Bradley's arm, and he thinks he's accomplished something, then it grows back, and he's deflated. There were some moments here where they're letting us see the ebb and flow of battle, the change of who's in control of the situation, the change in control of the city. They really showed the major momentum shift when Bradley came. That was really the point of this chapter in the story, this episode, I think, was to show that momentum shift and to take our heroes who appeared to be victorious in every measure of the word and have a way to put them back on their heels and introduce some more conflict so the story keeps going. It's not resolved too easily. Raise the stakes, give us more satisfaction if success is achieved. Or make us feel even more sad if there's a bittersweet ending where success isn't achieved and we see how close they came and yet failed. Pretty expert story construction in my humble, semi-pro opinion. Not quite professional, not quite amateur. I have written stuff, but not the most successful stuff. Anyway, I was just watching to see if there's any kind of in-credits scene, and it looks like we're probably just getting a preview for the next episode, so I try to stay away from those. And I'm going to say, I'm proud of you for watching anime, and I'll talk to you again soon.
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. It really means a lot to me. If you might be interested in Patreon perks like early access to videos, uncut reaction videos, ad-free videos, and the opportunity to vote on which anime will be covered in the future, then click on the link in the video description. Thank you.